Hello and welcome once again to Solo Board Gaming presents Neanderthal from Sierra Madre Games, designed by Phil Eklund. Now, if you saw my first video, we went over all the different bits and bobs, the components, in a fair amount of detail. And I did say we would do a play demo, not an entire playthrough, but I'd rather call it a play demo like I sometimes do. So just enough turns so that you understand the flow of the game and how the various components and the phases work together. Now, the elephant in the room, or if you'll pardon the pun, the mammoth in the room, because we've got some fabulous mammoth detail here underneath these cards. Look, we're using the board, the Neanderthal board, which is available separately. It's not part of the big game in a small box that you would buy when you first buy the game Neanderthal, but it is available separately. I think I've seen it sort of anywhere between $15 to $20, that kind of thing. I mean, it's beautiful. It's very useful. You can see the mammoth there. Look, it's a whole herd across this icy landscape. A woolly mammoth here. We've got some big cats here on a kill. So it is beautiful. And it does keep everything nicely in order. But you saw me set up without it in the previous video, and that's what most people do. You set up your cards in the north row and the south row here to create your biomes. Look, 6 cards in each row from the 2 decks. So you don't actually need the board. Okay, the board is it's pretty, it keeps things tidy, but it's not necessary. But it is nice. And the other useful thing is on the other side of it, 'cause it's a 2-sided board, is the same kind of board for the Greenland game. So it is a bit of a bargain, I think, in that respect. Because if you've bought or you intend to buy both Neanderthal and Greenland, you buy a single board and it has both game boards on it. So we're using that there. The other thing is, I've noticed it does increase my footprint a little bit. So without the board, I think I have everything a little bit closer together. But anyway, we'll see how we go. So there's the board. There's our hunting biomes there. And as we come to do the hunt, we'll take a closer look at that. You've got your Rosetta Stone actually printed on the game board, look. So there's all your icons and the explanations for them, what all the icons mean in the game. Or you just use your Rosetta Stone card here, as we showed in the last video. So I'll just plonk that up there. So, and also we have our event deck here. This isn't the entire deck. This is 10 cards drawn off the top of a shuffled deck, and I should place them there. And at the beginning of each turn, we will draw 1 card and consult the card for events and for our daughter auction. Okay, so 10 cards means 10 turns, but the cards can be added to. Certain events in the game will extend the game slightly, and if that's the case, we add more cards to that deck there. And then finally, we have our 3 species lined up in front of us. We have Archaic Man, Homo heidelbergensis. We have Cro-Magnon, Homo sapiens. And we have Neanderthal, Homo neanderthalensis. Now, there's lots of ways to play this game solo. That's the brilliant part about this game, that you can choose the solo experience that you actually want. You can play it literally solitaire, so you would just use 1 species against the game. And the idea is you want to, first of all, survive the game. And secondly, you want to convert to tribal, if possible, if you can get there before your cards run out, before the end of the game. And also, you want to beat your own highest score, depending on your finishing position. So that is a great, literally solitaire challenge that you can play any time with any of the 3 species. But by far the best, most enjoyable, and absolutely the toughest solo challenge is to play solo cooperative, and that's what we're doing here. Means it's going to take me a bit longer, which is why we're not going to do the full game. As I said, it's going to be a play demo, so we'll do enough turns, I don't know, 4 or 5, so you know how the play goes. But solo co-op is absolutely brilliant, and what a challenge it is. It's brilliant because by using all 3, you get absolutely the most, you wring the most you possibly can out of the game and its challenges and its mechanics. But also the challenge itself is this. So you start with your 3 species, but the challenge is you have to end the game having at least 2 species surviving. You can lose 1, but you want at least 2 species surviving, and for each species to have at least 1 domesticated animal. Now, for any animal to become domesticated, your species has to have become tribal first. Oh yes. So we're going further, aren't we? We're not only saying that out of the 3 species, 2 of them have to survive, but both of them have to have gone tribal and have to have domesticated at least 1 animal species before these cards run out, before the end of play. Now, I tell you, that is incredibly tough. That is a heck of a challenge. And there's an additional thing that I do here as well. If I have managed to finish the game, even if I've lost the game, I haven't managed to get 2 species, both tribal and both domestic animals, I still count up the amount of points that each species achieved at the end of the game, to try and beat my own scores, to see who cooperatively, admittedly, but who won my little race, if you like, within the game. There's just tons of ways to enjoy this game, and people have come up with lots of house rules to make it even tougher. I might mention 1 or 2 of those as we go along. But this is the best way to play solo, and that is, as I say, solo cooperative. 2 of them have to survive, and both of them would have to have had domesticated animals. Whoa! So that's the version I've decided to play. And by the way, if you're playing multiplayer, which we've also done, and it's an incredibly challenging and competitive game, as you can imagine, because you're all hunting over the same biomes. Then if it's 2 players, each would have 1 species, or if it's 3 players, you'd have a species each. And the game would play in exactly the same way as does the solo co-op variant. Okay, so back to our boards. We've set up each board. Now notice, first of all, each has a fire starter. An immature, remember the last video, fire starter? In the number 6 elder position. So each of them starts with that, but immature, look, there's a black disc under each one. So before we can use his abilities, we have to make him mature. We'll get to that. So each start with that. Each also start with 6 unassigned tribesmen or hunters, because they're not tribes. I'm going to keep saying that kind of thing. I think you just fall into that kind of terminology, unfortunately. So each of them have 6 unassigned hunters. Each of them start with 5 language discs of each colour. 5 orange, 5 white, 5 black. But that's where the similarity ends as regards language discs. Because look, they have different portals covered by a language disc. Archaic Man here has a white disc in the Bison portal. Cro-Magnon has an orange disc in the Shaman portal. And Neanderthal has a black disc in the Venus portal. Okay, that's fixed, cannot be moved. So what have we done with the other language discs? Well, I randomly doled out 3 different sexuality cards. A couple could have had the same, but again, I want to show you the variation in the game. So I've used one promiscuous, one pair bonding, one harem holding. So randomly, archaic man became promiscuous, Cro-Magnon became pair bonding, and Neanderthal became harem holding. The end of game scoring of each is therefore very different. For instance, here, promiscuous, we could pick anyone, but let's pick trophy. He would score 3 points for a trophy. We'll come on to that. Pair bonding would score only 2 points for a trophy. And harem holding would score 4 points for a trophy. But only 1 for a husband, where here it would be 3 for a husband. And is that 1 as well for a husband? And also 1 here for a husband. So they are asymmetrical sexualities that help define our behaviours and our end of game scoring. But in doing so, to that way of living, we've had to dedicate hugely varying amounts of language discs. Again, that cannot be moved, they are fixed. Now, pair bonding takes 0 language discs. So apart from that one there in the portal, and this one showing an immature fire starter, all the rest are free to use. We have all that free language that we've freed up. Over here, harem holding, see under there, look. The parental involvement takes 1 disc of each colour. And again, these cannot be moved. So there's less free discs here, less free language discs. And finally over here, being promiscuous absorbs most of our language abilities, 2 on each of those coloured discs, and they are fixed. So promiscuous archaic has the least amount of free language, mobile language to use throughout the game, because these amounts, whether it's 0, 1 each or 2 each, are fixed. So the whole thing is quite asymmetrical. Finally, we have our dead pile. That's all the spare hunters, where our dead hunters will go and where we will draw new babies from. I'll just plonk that over there, like so. And I think we're ready to draw the first card for turn 1. So here we go. Turn over the first card, turn 1. Aha! Okay. First of all, we have the turn order. First is going to be green, followed by red, followed by yellow, in that order for all events throughout this turn of the game. So I'll use my little wooden arrowhead, which comes with the game. I'm going to place it on green archaic man, to remind me that he's going to be taking first turn. Now, let's look at the events. We're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4 events this turn. First event is global warming. How apt. Now, what global warming means, well, we know what global warming means. I'm sorry about that. But in the game, what we have to do is we look for the species here with the lowest climax number. Now there's a climax number. I'm just going to show you this one. There's a climax number in the top right of the card. It's very tiny. This one says 24. And we're looking for the one with the lowest climax number in the bottom row. And it's this one, saber-toothed salmon. Dun, dun, dun. If I can pick it up off the board. Because it has a climax number of 1. Saber-toothed salmon is finding the seas in the south too warm, and it's migrating north. And it's pushing our European cave lion out of the biome. So both animals, species, have reacted to the warming temperatures. European cave lion has disappeared somewhere north. Saber-toothed salmon has migrated from the warm seas. And we take another card from our south row, and the fallow deer will replace that biome there. So that was global warming. Now the significance of that is you may get species moving or even disappearing that you actually need to be hunting or that you've been particularly successful with. So that was global warming. Let's look at the next event on the card. The next event on the card is this one here, the chaos event. Now, chaos event is a major event for our family groups. It can be a sign in the sky, it can be a catastrophe, it can be anything that causes shock to our tribes. And the first thing we have to do is count the number of people that we have in our group. I know anyway that all of them have 6 unassigned tribesmen, and that's what we're looking at, the unassigned tribesmen, the ones that those walking around twiddling their thumbs, unassigned hunters. So they all have 6. We have to have enough free language discs to keep our unassigned population content and under control during this chaotic event, whatever that event happens to be. So unassigned hunters must not outnumber the amount of spare language that we can use to control the amount of population we have. I've no idea if I've explained that good enough, but look, we have 6 tribesmen and we have 3, 5, 6, 7 language discs. We're fine. 6 tribesmen and tons of language discs. That is unassigned language discs. And that's, again, because we're pair bonding, look. And we're not using any to bring up our families. So absolutely fine, and we should be fine here as well. 6 unassigned hunters and 6, 8, 10 discs. So that particular chaos event ended okay. The next one is blizzard. I wonder if that shows okay. Okay, third one along from the left is that blue swirling mass there. That's blizzard. Okay, so blizzard event is next. And now we're looking for, across each of our tribes, any that have dependent populations may be in danger. Now, our dependents are our elders, because we tend to have to look after those, and our unmarried daughters, because there's nobody specifically looking after them if they're unmarried. The chance of that happening on turn 1 is 0, to be honest. Because, okay, well, we know none of us have, for instance, daughters. We each have 1 immature elder, but for each of those dependents, you have to have 2 hunters to look after them. And that's fine. 2 hunters to look after the elder, 2 hunters to look after the elder. So that's fine as well. And the final event was Wanderlust. Now, luckily, we lost no one in a chaos event, but the person in that chaos event, that is, but the species that lost the most in a chaos event, and it will happen eventually, will lose 2 more hunters to other tribes. They'll get wanderlust. They'll go looking for somewhere else to live, basically. Okay? So we've weathered those events fine. We're absolutely fine. And on turn 1, you normally would. I mean, it stands to reason. Let's turn the card up the other side. And now, finally, we have a daughter. Let's look at the daughter card in more detail. And there's our daughter card. Oh, and funnily enough, this first one is simply called Housewife. Nice silhouette there. And here, this is amazing. Look at this. Here, there's a picture, a photograph of a reconstructed mammoth bone hut a hut made of mammoth bone from 44,000 years ago. That is amazing. Okay, so what about housewife? In the flavour text it says home bases are sites where food was transported and shared and infants were raised. Ah, I see. It is unknown if they were communal property or defended as territory. That's very good. And again, it sparks a conversation, doesn't it? Now, if either of our species want to bid for housewife, it's going to cost our species a black disc, and this comes from our free discs. And some of our species don't have many free discs, remember. So this housewife is quite expensive. It'll cost a black disc and an orange disc. But what will housewife give us? Well, once mature, she would give that species a black disc in the venous portal in the brain. It'll also mean, and it has the word hearth here, husband promotion is free. In other words, the husband doesn't have to spend that time courting his potential wife. It is free. It automatically happens. That's pretty strong. And this is how we're going to decide, because this is the co-op version, which of our three species is going to get housewife. Now, the first criteria is this. This one is an expensive bid. We pointed out that the minimum bid is one black and one orange disc. So I'm going to say to myself, look here, Archaic Man does not want to bid this time because we have very few discs here. Neanderthal could bid, but she would enable a black disc in the venous portal. We already have one. See what we're coming round to now? We go to Cro-Magnon, who would benefit from a black disc in the venous portal and has plenty of discs with which to bid. So I think it goes without saying that housewife is going to win the bid. So we're going to place housewife down here to start creating the tableau for Cro-Magnon. Now, we bid a black disc and an orange disc, so they go on there. So that shows us that that is an immature daughter. So she has to become mature, as we explained in the first video, before we can use her abilities. The daughter has to become mature. So we have to find ways of removing the black and orange disc. Then she's mature, then we can use her abilities, except that because we're Cro-Magnon and have pair bonding, we also have to marry that daughter, get that daughter a husband before we can use those abilities. So you can see this is your forward planning. This is how you're going to plan your way through the game. So what's next? Hunter assignment. Now we're going to do hunter assignment in player order, and there's my arrowhead reminding me that green was first player. We've got 6 unassigned hunters. Because we're promiscuous, we are the only gathering species, so we can also gather. Let's have a look at our hunt biomes. Here we go. So our green species, Heidelbergensis, has the least number of language discs. So what I want to do in my first hunt is at least free up the black disc under my Firestarter Elder. It'll make my Elder mature, plus it'll get that black disc into my pool, and that's what I need. So I've got woolly mammoth. That's tough to hunt. Look, we would need 4 1s or 2s to get a kill. Plus we could get very hurt. Flint mine, that's an easy one. That gives me an easy black disc. I'll probably go there. What else gives me a black disc just in case? An auroch. Okay, I think the first thing I'm going to do is some flint mining. So I need a single, 1 or a 2. So I'll put 3 hunters into the flint mine, like so. And you just about see there, hopefully, it's a single die with a star on it, which means out of those 3 die rolls, a single 1 or a 2 would do. Thank you very much. That leaves me another 3 hunters. Being first can be very lucrative. So I'm going fishing. I'm going to fish for that saber-toothed salmon. Now, again, I only need a single result of a 1 or a 2, but it'll give me 2 babies and it'll free up an orange disc. That element is wasted because I don't have any orange discs that need freeing up at the moment. Remember, we're talking about the green, Heidelbergensis. If I happen to roll 3 of the same value, I could take this biome as a trophy. So I think we've picked the 2 simplest for Heidelbergensis there. The only thing is, look, you see that blue frosty dice there? And there's also a blue frosty dice here. If we roll a 6 with any of these, one of our hunters will die of frostbite. If our fire starter elder down here was mature, one of his abilities is to prevent frostbite. So let's get him mature. We want to do that. So who's next? It's the red player next, Cro-Magnon, and again he's got 6 hunters. He wants to free up both black and orange. Remember, off that immature daughter. So he'll go hunt the willow ptarmigan, where he only needs a result of 1 or 2 on one of the die. But again, he does risk frostbite there, look. But he can be rewarded with a baby and removal of an orange disc. And finally, he'll also hunt the honeybee. In other words, these hunters here, having spotted a hive hanging from a tree, will all be nudging each other and pushing one of them forward and saying, no, you go and smack it with that stick so we can get the honey out of it. Which is why, okay, potentially an easy result, just need a 1 or a 2. But if we roll a 6, look, somebody's going to die. They're going to get stung 100 times and die from an allergic reaction. Now, poor old Neanderthal, who's the last one to choose where he's going to go hunting, is going to lose out here because he's left with much tougher choices. He wants to free up a black disc. He's going to put all 6 hunters. Tough on Neanderthal, you know. All 6 hunters to hunt this huge auroch. Now, if he rolls a 6, for each 6, somebody's going to die. This is a tough animal. Those horns aren't just for show. To succeed, he'll need to roll 3 1s or 2s, which is why I put all 6 of them on. But big rewards. That feeds a lot of people. He'll get 5 babies and he can free up a black and a white. And he certainly wants to free up the black. And that's the hunt order complete. So the first thing we're going to do is these 3 hunters here are going to work the flint mine. We're going to get 3 dice. We don't want to roll a 6 and get frostbite. Let's have a go. Ta-da! And we've got a 3, a 4 and a 6. So we didn't roll a 1 or 2. We're unsuccessful. Plus, worse than that, we rolled a 6, so one of them has succumbed to the cold and he's in the dead pile. The other 2 come back. The next hunt, they're on the banks of the fast-flowing river. The saber-toothed salmon migrating upstream. Again, 3 dice. We don't want to roll a 6. Let's go. In fact, let's use the cup. Oh, it looks like we got a 2. We got a 5, a 5 and a 2. Brilliant. So we didn't get a 6, so we've all survived. We got a 2, which is enough. So our 3 hunters come back. We're going to get 2 babies from the dead pile to increase our population, which is good because we lost 1, didn't we? But the other reward is to free up an orange disc, and we don't have any to free up. If we'd have got 3 dice all showing the same face, 3 3s, 3 4s, 3 5s, whatever, we could take this card as a trophy. But we didn't. So now it's Cro-Magnon. So what's Cro-Magnon going to do? The first hunt he'll do is the Willow Ptarmigan. And again, he's going to get 3 dice. He only needs 1 result. And doesn't want to roll a 6. 3 dice in the cup. Let's roll. What do we get? Oh, cool. We get a 2, a 1 and a 3. So that's plenty. So nobody's hurt. We didn't roll a 6. So we get ourselves 1 baby and we free 1 gold disc. And we know we want to free a gold disc from our daughter. So that's what we'll do. We'll free that gold disc back into our vocabulary. The next one is our honeybee. And it's a shame this doesn't free a black disc, look, but never mind. We're there now. Again, we've got 3. So let's go with the roll. We don't want a 6, somebody getting stung. We got a 2, so it's a successful hunt, but we also got a 6. We've lost somebody. Oh dear. So we got a successful hunt. We could free up a gold disc, but this one was an insurance policy because we've already freed it up by having a successful hunt over here. And we've lost 1 guy who's got stung to death. Unfortunately, but at least those 2 come back home. But now for the big hunt. We've got, or Neanderthal has, 6 hunters here on the hugely behorned auroch. He needs 3 results out of these 6 dice, and he doesn't want to roll any 6s, but there's big rewards. So let's go Neanderthal. First of all, we need 6 dice. There's the 3, 6. Let's go. What do we have? We're looking for 1s and 2s. We don't have any. But we do have a 6. We have a 1, 2 4s, a 3 and a 5. No good. So out of 6 dice, we didn't get the 3 results we needed. But we did roll a 6. We've lost 1 of our men. So we've got no reward, but 1 of us has been killed. Not such a good result. By the way, probably now a good time to mention, if we had have killed this auroch, so if we're now staring at a bloodied carcass on the ground, look at that piece of red there. That means any predator in our row will come and try and take that kill away from us. And we do have 1 predator. It's here, shown by the red symbol there, the cave hyena. So, having killed the auroch, we would then have to fight the cave hyena, the predator who's trying to take the carcass away from us. That's how involved this game can get. Okay, it's nearly the end of the turn. Now, we can carry out a portal action or a neolexia action. Now, a portal action is we can free up any language disk from an immature by using that colour that we have in our brain. So, can he do a portal action? No, because he only has white in his brain and there's no white disks that require freeing up. He only has orange in his brain. He has no orange disks that need freeing up. Now, don't forget, from our hunt, we already freed up the orange disk from this immature daughter here. Now, Neanderthal can do a portal action because he has the black disk in this technical domain in his brain. He can free up that elder. It frees up the disk itself, so he's now got more available language. Plus, that's now a mature elder, and being a fire starter on his hunts, he's now protected from frostbite. That's a good result for Neanderthal. Another thing, the other potential action is neolexia, and you can only do one or the other, either a portal action or neolexia. And what neolexia is, that's purely from your daughter cards. So you go to your daughter cards, we've only got one here, and the neolexia action would be this one here, look, phase 6. And that would be to put, in this instance, a black disk into our brain. But we can't, because she's still immature. And because we're pair bonding, she's also unmarried. There's turn 1, over and done with. For the next couple of turns, we'll speed up. Meanwhile, I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. Please come back for one more video when we'll get through another 2 or 3 turns. Thank you very much indeed. Cheers now. Bye-bye.